Ben, thanks for keeping us up to date. Now, which of us hasn't dreamed about building a brand new house exactly as perhaps you want it? You know, I don't know, what would you want? Swimming pool in the garden? Maybe?
Well, that would be all right.
His and hers bathrooms?
Don't need one of those. Two of those.
Home cinema?
Well, I can live without home cinema, to be honest, as well. There are some things I'd
Anyway.
like. Some people have ambitions, but possibly not that far-fetched, because around 15,000 people every year build their own homes, saving thousands of pounds on the cost of buying a house built by someone else.
We're joined now by the housing expert, Henry Pryor. Morning to you. Let's just talk about the finances of it. If you do manage, you've got to first of all find the land, haven't you, and then try and get a mortgage. How difficult is all of that?
Well, definitely the hardest part about building your own house, and most of us have the dream of constructing something that we can live in and leave as a legacy to our kids, perhaps. The hardest thing is finding the land. Location, location, location is the famous watchword for all property, and getting hold of that land is desperately difficult at the moment. There are places on the internet that you can go to that will help you find plots, but once you've got the plot, then funding it is the fundamental concern that most people have.
So, to talk us through some figures, you found yourself a nice plot of land, which will have cost a certain amount of money to build. I mean, give me a ballpark figure for I don't know, a 3-bedroom house.
Well,
how much does it cost to build?
The variable in the equation is the land, Charlie. Rightly as you say, that's the thing that can vary from up to £1 million an acre in parts of London and the South East, for example. But the actual construction cost is probably going to cost you for a 3-bedroom house somewhere between £110,000 and £130,000.
And that's the whole thing. That's the
whole
materials,
thing.
the work.
And the cost of a house hasn't actually changed that much over the last decade or so. And the government now are very keen to see more of us building our own houses in a way that perhaps will help solve the housing crisis that we've got at the moment. And they're throwing 30 million quid at this to help people who want to go out and build their own house. They're talking about shared equity schemes, because borrowing the money is still very, very difficult. If you want to get a mortgage for it, you might only be able to get sort of 75% of the end value of it, which is going to be paid down in instalments. But the good news is, at the end of it, if you find that you've built something and you've got a taste for it, if you want to sell it, most people, if they do their sums correctly, can make something like 25 or even 30% profit, which is obviously a nice bonus on top of it.
But it's not an easy thing to do, is it?
It's desperately, you know, it can go horribly wrong, and there are some great horror stories that we all know of where people have got it wrong. Usually it's the funding that people miscalculate. Something crops up during the course of the build that they weren't planning on. There's a small river, an underwater river perhaps is exposed when they're digging foundations, or that the build program goes on, and you end up paying builders for much longer than you were expecting. So if you get your preparation correct, prior planning, as they say, they get involved with that and get that organised, you can then make sure it goes smoothly, and if you can factor in the sort of errors that can creep in, you end up still being able to enjoy a house that you've built to your specification and make money.
The beauty, as you quite rightly say, is that you've got something that you exactly how you want. The downside is it's exactly how you want. And it's not possibly how someone else might want. So you might have built in all sorts of things to your taste that someone else might walk in and say, you know, what on earth?
Well, think of the houses that most of us live in. They were at some stage they were constructed by somebody for exactly what they wanted and for the purpose they required, and we have to convert them. Much of the nation's housing stock now, 70-odd% of the nation's housing stock, it was built during the Victorian era, and we're constantly having to dig out basements, convert garages, convert loft space in order to come up with 21st century living. So we're always doing this, but the joy of those who build their own houses, the 10 to 15,000 people every year who build their own houses, is they get a bespoke product, something exactly that matches their requirements.
But with incredibly hard work. I mean, you know, it's a full-time job to be overseeing, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to have a passion for it, but the experience that you go through and the lessons you learn are enormously enriching. So the whole thing at the end of the day, for most people, they come out and the first thing they want to do is, can we do it again? Where's the next one?
Really, Henry, thank you very much. Thank you.